been 4 months since the battle against the god Beerus. Goku and Piccolo now are both off-world, training under the god of destruction's mentor, Whis, who had visited Earth some months ago looking for food and had taken the Saiyan and Namekian away to train on the god's homeworld. But since the pair's departure, weird reports of people going missing spearing up around the world, with the only evidence ever being left behind, and the only thing the police can find, is the pile of clothes that are left behind of the people. Now over 1,000 people have been reported as missing, and this has inspired the Z Fighters to begin a thorough investigation, which is where we find our heroes, as Videl, Gohan, Trunks and Cell fly through the skies of West City at night, the group splitting up to cover more ground, with the search turning up nothing for hours, until suddenly the power of Cell flares up rapidly before it begins to plummet just as fast, on the outskirts of the city. Quickly, Gohan, Trunks and Videl start to converge on Cell. Videl, being closest, makes it there first on the scene, finding the Bugman currently missing an arm, which is slowly beginning to heal. As Videl, having grown close to the Bugman, rushes forward, asking if he's alright. He nods, saying that he found the thing that had been attacking people, describing it to look animalistic and not human whatsoever. By the time Cell had got here, he had seen the creature had finished its most recent meal, pointing over to a pile of clothes, and before Cell had a chance to react or do anything to stop it, the creature hit him very hard, ripping his arm off and went down into a hole in the ground, as Cell points over to the hole that the creature had fled through. Videl quickly runs to the hole, which is surprisingly large, almost the same size as her, and recently having honed her ability to sense ki, she tries to feel out anything down there, trying to get a hint of something, which is when she feels her energy, an amalgamation of many different creatures and people. It's very weird, and then she gets a hint of Cell's energy, deeming it to be the arm, but before she can act or think, the energy disappears into the depths of the earth, and it is at this point where Trunks and Gohan arrive on the scene. Spotting Cell having fully regrown his arm, they help him up, the Bugman apologising, but everyone tells him not to worry. The group, having not slept in 2 days, decides to head home and restart tomorrow, promising to catch the creature another night. And as they all arrive back at Capsule Corp, all but Cell are quick to head off to bed to try and catch up on sleep they have been missing out on. With Eraser having waited up for her husband, the girl now very heavily pregnant, as she sits up and welcomes the hybrid home with a hug, before joining him and getting some sleep. While Gohan and Videl speak to each other about how each night seemingly becomes less and less successful, with them not being able to stop any attacks. With the Dragon Ball still 8 months away from being available to use, it means they have to rely on their own ability to prevent as many attacks from happening as possible, and they can find some solace in the fact that they have likely prevented as many people from dying, with the creature's attack having become less common since they've begun their patrols, with the Earthlings now taking a shift to monitor things for a day or two, with Tien, Yamcha, Chi-Chi and Krillin all making sure no attacks happen. With the previous search team now taking some downtime, Cell heads back to the gravity chamber to begin his training solo, having decided to stay on Earth instead of joining his rival on Beerus' planet, due to finding the god rather unsettling, as if he could see straight through his soul. Cell having become a bit of a recluse since Goku's departure, something Bulma is quick to note and understand. With Goku having been gone, Cell doesn't spend as much time around anyone except for when he's on patrol. However, she can just chalk this up since he doesn't have Goku around for a good sparring partner and is just missing his rival. Something Bulma understands, as this is the first time herself and Goku have been apart for any amount of time. She is still slightly shocked with how much she is missing her husband, however is happy that he has had the chance to train under such a powerful deity, and hopefully when the time comes we'll be able to defend Earth from whatever this creature is. As midday comes, Gohan and Trunks finally both wake up to join Cell in his training, before beginning their day of work around Capsule Corp. The training beginning much like normal, with Trunks and Gohan facing Cell, the pair using their mastered Super Saiyan 2 forms to battle the bug, something which Cell is normally able to keep up with. However, Gohan can sense that something is not right, and it's something he sensed last night, and that being that Cell's power has seemingly halved at some point, wondering if Cell is purposely holding back, but he can't help but believe that's not right. As he watches Cell hardly able to keep up with them, even seeing signs of the bug slowing down much faster than normal, Trunks and Gohan, spotting this, stop their sparring session to make sure Cell is okay. The bug looks rather uncomfortable and tells them he thinks the creature last night took a bit more energy than he had realised, saying that it might be best if he just rests for the day to get his energy back up. The twins nod, telling him to go rest up, even recommending that he misses out on the next search party. He nods, thinking it's for the best, apologising for having got his energy taken, Before heading off, the pair do feel bad knowing that Cell has been off his game since Goku's departure, meaning that if Goku was still here he likely wouldn't have been caught off guard. And the pair don't love fighting as much as their father, so they only really do it as a morning workout and an evening exercise, not training overly hard like their dad would. So Cell's probably been a bit lonely. However, they decide to keep an eye on their friend, feeling out his energy as he heads off to hang out with Bulma, feeling the energy of the pair running around playing with one another. As they do this, Videl joins the two in the gravity chamber to begin their training. She joins in on the morning workout for a little bit before just sitting around and watching the pair try to develop the Super Saiyan 2 stage even further. They both feel there is something beyond it, but neither are able to grasp it at the time being, wondering how their father is doing with his training under Whis. On Beerus' planet, we watch as Goku and Piccolo race forward towards Whis, the duo having been training under the Angel over the last 3 months after he showed up on Earth in search of a quick meal. However, Goku, faster than Whis could find food, took the opportunity to get the mentor of the God of Destruction to train him along with his friends, asking to bring along both Cell and Piccolo. Whis, while interested in all 3 of them, was shocked to learn that Cell has no desire to train with the Angel or the God, something which confused Goku and Piccolo. However, both aren't going to turn this opportunity down just because Cell isn't going, so they both took off towards Beerus' planet in a heartbeat, and now are currently working on acquiring and mastering God Ki. Goku having a massive lead in the fight due to his previous God ritual. However, Whis cannot help but find Piccolo's mind to be interesting, believing the Namekian could possibly learn the way of a God of Destruction and even be a very good candidate for one once Beerus decides to retire. However, he keeps this thought to himself, while he also picks at Goku's mind, learning that the Saiyan could possibly in the future learn the way of UI. However, it would take some time and the Saiyan to get a better understanding of God Ki and his own body before that is even possible. All the while, Goku and Piccolo are blissfully unaware of the monster on Earth and are in fact so caught up in their training they haven't even thought to check in on the planet. However, a more social Goku does find himself missing his family, and is already considering heading home to see how they're all doing, but decides to stay on the planet until he has mastered the godly Ikari state, a form he had started playing with after learning to activate his god form on command, already now having an endgame in mind for what he wants to achieve with these godly forms. As night falls on Earth, Gohan, Trunks and Videl decide to not take the night off, instead heading off to go find the creature once more, while Cell stays behind at Capsule Corp, keeping Bulma and Bulma company. As the trio start their search, heading off to meet up with Krillin and Chi-Chi, Videl shares how she actually might have an idea of what the bug's key signature feels like, as she explains that it's this weird amalgamation of different keys, making Gohan shout out that his wife is amazing. Videl, however, awkwardly explains that she would have to get really close to the bug to be able to pinpoint its location accurately. With this being the best lead the group have had in a while, they all take it with pride as they race off towards the energy of Krillin and Chi-Chi. Krillin having been the cop placed in charge in following the mystery of the missing people reports. Once meeting up with Krillin and Chi-Chi, who are both clearly tired from the day of searching, they tell the group that they haven't actually seen the bug all day or even heard of any attacks happening, making the trio slightly confused as there's normally 1 or 2 attacks even when they're on patrol. Gohan wonders if the creature had had a bigger feed last night due to feeding off Cell, or even if the encounter with Cell had spooked the creature. However, not wanting to get too comfortable, they decide to follow through with the search. However, like Krillin had said, nothing arrives. No sign or report of the creature, in fact, and the night is almost peaceful, with even criminals too scared of the monster that had been lurking each city to show their faces at night anymore. And as the sun begins to rise with no signs of the creature, the group are optimistic about maybe the creature having died, or fed its share, or even begun to hibernate, maybe even leave the planet if it was alien. As they return to Capsule Corp, optimistic for the first time in a long time, they are ready to share the possible good news with everyone, only to learn that Cell isn't home and had left a few hours ago. Finding this behaviour to be out of the ordinary, Gohan, Trunks, Bulma and Videl actually all decide to head off and look for him, worried he might have gone searching for the creature alone and met a terrible fate, or possibly just is upset due to having messed up the other night. He's unsure, but as the hybrids and Videl head off to search for him, they try to locate Cell's power, with it taking them some time before they eventually find it in a nearby mountain range, with Cell's power being near the peak of the mountain, so they all start heading towards it. And Gohan's mind begins to wonder something. As he locks onto Cell's key, he feels something familiar, and then remembers the conversation Videl and him had had hours ago, reminding himself of how Videl had told him that the monster's energy felt like an amalgamation of many different creatures and people, and as Gohan locks onto Cell's energy, he feels that familiar feeling. His mind begins to worry, and he thinks it can't be true, but his instincts kick in. Without wasting a beat, the Saiyan turns into his Akari state to gain some more speed on his brother, sister and wife, taking off flying ahead, ready to fight and defend them, only to arrive at the top of the mountain to find something he wasn't expecting. As he makes it to the top, he looks down and sees Cell, building a house and whistling away. There's a moment of silence and confusion as the others catch up with Gohan, and Cell, suddenly feeling the power of Gohan and many eyes staring down upon him, turns around to see everyone, and with a smile asks what they're all doing here. Gohan's breathing is heavy, but he tries to calm down. He's not sure what came over him, he just had this horrible feeling, as he suddenly feels his wife's hand touch his back, asking if he's alright. Gohan nods as he drops down his transformation, scratching the back of his head laughing, saying he was just worried, and apologises for startling everyone. Bulma within an instant flies over towards Cell, hugging him, asking what he's doing. Cell goes silent for a second. He tries to figure out how to word things and he looks a bit uncomfortable, before eventually explaining that for a while now he hasn't really been sure who he is, or what he is, he supposes. With Goku gone, he's had no objective, no one to train against, no one to get stronger against, and now no longer really knows why he trains. He isn't sure what his journey on this world is, or what his purpose in life is, so he's decided he's going to try and find himself. He's going to spend some time alone, figuring out what he wants to do, why he wants to fight, and who he really is. After all, even though he's made up of many different fighters, he isn't like any of them too particularly. The closest person he is Goku, and they're very different at the end of the day. So for right now, he wants to spend some time alone and figure out what his journey on this world will be, and where he'll be going from now. Admitting he had been wanting to do this since Goku left, but he had stopped himself since that creature appeared, knowing that he was needed to defend the planet against it, and his first priority will always be to defend his planet and his family. But with the creature gone, having not appeared all day yesterday, he thinks it's time he starts the next chapter of his life alone. He wants to do this. Gohan feels a great deal of guilt when hearing this, for even thinking that Cell could be responsible, even if it only was for a second, his guilt blinding him to what Cell had just said. As Trunks, seeing his brother beating himself up, not knowing what's going on, smiles, looking at Cell asking if he can help in any way with the construction of his home, but Cell shakes his head, saying he thinks if he truly wants to figure out who he is and the journey he's going to be going on, he needs to do it alone, from start to finish. Trunks smiles, telling Cell that's fine, telling him good luck for his journey, and reminding him that he's family, and he's always welcome to come and visit whenever he wants to. Bulma then hugs Cell tightly, asking if she can come visit him. The android smiles slightly, telling her that for now he needs to be alone for a little bit, but he'll come down and tell her the moment he's ready to see her once again, promising that it shouldn't be too long. He just needs a bit more time. And once he's ready, they'll be together again forever. Bulma smiles, telling Cell not to take too long, as she flies over to her brothers. Cell tells them that if the creatures to start appearing again, that they should come find him. He's more than happy to help with things like that, but for now, he just needs to be alone. Everyone smiles and respects Cell's wishes, as they start heading back home, leaving Cell to finish his soul-searching journey, while Gohan still feels guilty, but he can't help but feel like something's off. He isn't sure why, but all of his instincts scream something bad is happening, and it's happening underneath his nose. While Cell waves them goodbye, waiting until they're out of sight, he senses them return to Capsule Corp, and smiles to himself, looking towards the forest surrounding his home. He tells it to come out and let them become one once more. And that is where we'll leave this part for now. Sorry this part is much shorter than most previous parts and most of my other stories. I just wanted to get a smaller part out so I can continue to work on other projects which are slightly bigger and require a bit more time and effort to make. So this story is being kept short, unfortunately. That being said, it is reaching its climax for the most part, which will become evident as the next 2 or 3 parts come out, maybe even less, since there's not a lot of content in Super that will be covered, for a reason you'll soon see. That all being said, I do hope everyone enjoyed this story, and I just want to say a quick thank you for all the great support that What If Oak Trained Ash, the Redux, had received. I'm happy people are clearly enjoying that story, and a huge thank you to Plus, who had given me quite a bit of support for that last part, so thank you very much. If you're here watching, I appreciate you. That all being said, I hope everyone has a great day or a good night, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye for now, guys.